the Queen of England, to her cousin, Prince Albert of Germany. Albert brought his German ways to Windsor Palace, including the annual Christmas tree. In 1848, the London Illustrated News published this engraving of the royal family, standing by the first Christmas tree most English had ever seen. In just a few years, a decorated fir could be found in nearly every English home at Christmas.
Within a few years, if you look at Victorian diaries or letters, people are saying, we had a Christmas tree as is customary, or we had a Christmas tree as we have always had. And of course, they hadn't always had one at all. It was a custom which had started in the 1840s, and by the late 1850s, people believed that the Christmas tree was part of the English Christmas.
Americans embraced the Christmas tree just as quickly as the English had. In fact, its connection to the Old World was one of its strongest selling points.
For a lot of Americans, these are going to be new holiday traditions, not something their parents observed, especially in the case of the more austere Protestants. So they're looking for a reason for what they're doing. And one of the most convenient reasons they can have is they can say, well, this is the way it's done in Germany, or this is the way it's done in England.
Okay, let's pause right there, Elder. In last week's show, you know, we actually unearthed the origin of Christmas, and we know that it's actually under the Germanic umbrella in the Germanic culture. It's a Yuletide festival, right? That lasted for 12 days, right? So hence we have the 12 days of Christmas. We have the Yule logs. We have the Christmas tree. That's also Germanic, and it comes from the pagans acknowledging their god Tiwaz as a tree, and placing the spoils of their the spoils of war rather on their god
as ornaments, as decoration.
Talk to us a little bit about those ornaments.
They were the heads of the people that they had killed in war. They placed them on, and then they took the spoils, which was the gold and the silver, and threw it on the tree. Okay. That's how they decorated, and thus we have the decoration of the Christmas tree.
And the packages underneath the tree?
Those were spoils that wouldn't hang on the tree, so they slid them under the tree.
I got you. Okay, all right. And that again was discussed in the first part of our segment. All right. Okay.
Popping up everywhere. In 1828, Joel R. Poinsett, America's minister to Mexico, brought back a green and red plant that seemed perfect for the new holiday. And in 1843, the English firm of J.C. Horsley printed the first Christmas card. A newly efficient postal service in England and America helped make Christmas cards an overnight sensation. It seemed as though every vestige of the old Bacchanalian Christmas was gone, but even the Victorians couldn't clean up Christmas completely.
Victorians were particularly keen on mistletoe because, of course, you could actually kiss a lady, or a lady could kiss a man, that normally, in the normal course of events, you would not be allowed to kiss. So in a society which was fairly strict, one vestige of that licentious Christmas from earlier times is the sprig of mistletoe. No Victorian Christmas gathering was without it.
Okay. All right, so we'll stop right here. All right, let's back up a little bit. All right, December 25th is the birthday of the pagan god Mithra. Yes. All right, we discussed that in part 1 of our discussion, and it was assigned to the birthday of the Messiah by the church.
Yes.
Okay, because these people adopted paganistic customs and practices within their religious order. So we have December the 25th, which is actually the birthday of Mithra. It's also the birthday of the sun, the birth of the sun. We have the Yule Tide Festival taking place for 12 days.
Beginning of the winter solstice.
Okay. Which has to do with the rebirth of the sun and so forth and so on.
Celebrations,
festivals, all of this having to do with fertility rites.
Yes.
All right. Let's see. So December the 25th, we have the Yule Tide. We then have
the celebration of children.
Juvenalia. Okay, so we have the celebration of children during the same period, which made its way into what they call Christmas. What else do we have? What else do we have? Oh, we have the Christmas tree.
The Christmas tree.
We have the Christmas tree, which was actually used as a symbol to recognize their God, the ornaments and so forth that were hung on the tree, as you stated earlier, and we said in the beginning of our series in part one, was that they were actually the spoils that they had looted from rival tribal groups and the heads of their enemies. Okay, all right, and now we have the mistletoe. I have some secular information on the mistletoe. Our viewers might find interesting, since they were talking about kissing under the mistletoe. The mistletoe was a sacred plant in the pagan religion of the Druids in Britain. It was believed to have all sorts of miraculous qualities: the power of healing diseases, making poisons harmless, giving fertility to humans and animals, protecting from witchcraft, banning evil spirits, bringing good luck and great blessings. In fact, it was considered so sacred that even enemies who happened to meet beneath a mistletoe in the forest would lay down their arms, exchange a friendly greeting, and keep a truce until the following day. From this old custom grew the practice of suspending mistletoe over a doorway or in a room as a token of goodwill and peace to all who entered. In ancient times, the Celts and the Vikings used it as a healing plant, upon which superstition and myth had bestowed miraculous healing powers to the mistletoe. The Native American used it as a healing for dog bite, toothaches, and measles. Measles. This is from Hangtide Publications, Hangtide Heart and Soul, where the light shines on you. All rights reserved. Hangtide Publications, P.O. Box 2181, Glen Ellen, Illinois. What we are showing you people is that everyone knows the history of these pagan rituals that is in Christian theology today, centered around the so-called birth of the Messiah.
Yes. As
we read last week, nowhere in the scripture does it state to acknowledge his birth. It does tell us to memorialize his death, though. Okay? All right, we'll go ahead and continue. It's very interesting.
By mid-century, Christmas was everywhere in America, in the streets, in the homes, in the marketplace. The one place you could not find Christmas was in church.
Hello.
Most Americans were Protestant, and the Protestant church had ignored Christmas for years. But Protestant Victorians longed for official religion on this sacred day.
What a number of them do initially is say, well, if we can't find a Christmas service in our Baptist church or our Presbyterian church, let's go see what the Catholics are doing, or let's go see what the Episcopalians are doing. And increasingly that puts pressure on these Latter-day Puritans to have Christmas services, because there's a way in which lay people begin to expect it.
Eleanor, what did I just hear here?
That the Protestants didn't acknowledge Christmas.
Right.
So when we drive up and down the street at Christmas time and we see all these churches with Christmas trees and wreaths and bows and decorations, that's something new.
Right.
And where did they get it?
Right.
This secular information said that they went to see what the Catholic Church was doing.
Right.
And they followed that because they needed a holiday. They needed a tradition. And they took that tradition upon themselves.
Okay. All right. That's what I got out of it, too.
Church services, mistletoe, and Christmas trees. America's new holiday now seemed firmly in place. But Victorian America had one last contribution to the Christmas season. A jolly elf who shimmied down the chimney would soon personify Christmas for generations to come. For Santa, however, there was St. Nicholas, a Greek Orthodox bishop who became one of the most popular saints of the Middle Ages. On December 6th, St. Nicholas Day, good children woke to gifts from the kindly saint. Bad